speak to you all, you're all well and safe and adhering to all the COVID-19 protocols that are set by each of the governments. So next week is a very, very key week for us as Lucara, Botswana, and I believe as the country of Botswana as well, and Canada as well, specifically because we'll be running a conference in conjunction with the Canadian government through the Canada-Africa Chamber of Business in collaboration with Lucara, Botswana, and we're bringing this conference, an international conference to Botswana, specifically to showcase agriculture, mining, tourism, and any other investment opportunities that we believe will benefit Botswana through this collaboration that we have with the Canadian government. The conference will be running from the 27th to 29th of October. Because we're working with different time zones, we'll be starting at about 2 p.m. in the afternoon and the conference will run till about 6 p.m. But this is obviously to cater for people in different countries. We're able to get people registering online for this particular conference. And I think it's a very key conference for everyone that wants to participate because it gives every Motswana an opportunity to interact with investors, with high-profile individuals, and leaders in industries, in specific industries like agriculture, tourism, and mining.
Okay, so who will be the notable speakers of the conference? You mentioned that it's a conference that will be taking place between Botswana and Canada.
So we've got, if you don't mind, I don't want to get the information incorrect in terms of stating people's names incorrectly, but from Botswana, we've got 3 key ministers coming through, which is the Honorable Lahri from the Agriculture and Food Security sector, which is the Ministry of Food Security. We've got Honorable Lefoko from the Ministry of Mineral and Resources, Honorable Peggy Serame from MITI, and then from the Canadian side, we have Honorable Mary Ng, who's the Minister of Small Business Export, Promotion and International Trade. We have Honorable Minister Karina Gould, Minister of International Development, and we have Honorable Paul Lefebvre, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources. Again, these are the ministers of the specific countries. We do have other ministers coming in from other African countries because this conference is about Africa accelerating, and we're talking about Africa accelerating and specifically using Botswana as the blueprint. So we do have other African leaders coming through in terms of ministers, but of note are the ones that I've discussed. Again, key industry players, and most importantly, and not that the key industry players and the ministers are not important, we have investors joining these conferences, or the 3 days of the conference.
Why has Lucara found it fit to be a sponsor of this conference? We take it is the first of its kind to be held.
Yeah, so that's a very good question, thank you. And I think from my end is a very, very easy question to answer as well. I mean, as you all know, I've always spread this message across to the media locally here and internationally through Ira Thomas. But Lucara Botswana is all about sustainability, and it's, yes, we are a mining company, but we believe that diversity is very key in terms of even mining at Lucara Botswana. So I always use this word that Lucara Botswana is a responsible, ethical, and sustainable miner. And when I talk about sustainable miner, I talk about obviously mining sustainably within the infrastructure that we have, and also back to the communities. So what's quite key is to ensure that we bring in diversity with response to this conference. But I'm going to go back a little in terms of why Lucara Botswana has selected this particular conference. We want to get the communities diverse so that when mining does end, and we know mining, diamonds are finite and mines have a life of mine, and when we say that, we know that after the mines have gone, what do the communities or the people that are living in those areas, what will they go back on? So for us, it's to ensure that we have diversity in these areas. And for us, we furnish 19 communities in the area that we're working in. And for me, you know, I do not want to see these communities go down because the mining is no longer there. So this conference is quite critical for that, specifically because we're bringing in diversity in the form of different mining opportunities. For us, what's key also is agriculture, because it's very key in terms of food security. We've seen that coming through with the COVID-19 lockdowns and obviously the pandemic coming on board. And it's a global issue right now, food security. So we will be focusing a lot on the food security aspects, not to say that we won't be looking at the mining aspects. And what is quite key as well is, as the lockdowns came on, Botswana had the opportunity to see what amazing tourism sites we have in Botswana. We want to take these sites to investors out there to come in and invest with Botswana, obviously, to ensure that we diversify the economy and we're not completely reliant on mining. And I think as a country, we are very reliant on diamond mining specifically. We have a day specifically set aside for mining, but it's obviously looking at other opportunities in mining that we're looking at. There's a day called leapfrogging as well. It's talking about digitalization and also just what we can do with different aspects of technology in Botswana. So digitalization is quite key in this conference as well. So I think just to come back to your question in terms of why is this conference key? I think it's obviously the first of its kind for Botswana. What is key for Botswana and Lucara Botswana in conjunction with the Canadian government is that we want to showcase Botswana as the blueprint of Africa. So as I say that, we have investors ready to come in to invest for key projects that will be coming through to Botswana, obviously through these conferences. During the conference, you will have the opportunity to have networking sessions with the people that are on the conference. And I really urge individuals listening to me right now to go to the Canada Africa website, which is www.canadaafrica.ca, to ensure that you understand what the conference is about and see who's actually participating in those conferences. And take the opportunity to have discussions through the networking slots within the conference, because it's quite key that people are actually integrating with these individuals and sharing ideas, because it's a lot of big brains there, and I don't think the virtual area is enough to keep that space in, right? But what I want to emphasize as well is, again, in this conference, 3 days, there's a key activity that is going to happen during this conference, and it is the sign-off of a memorandum of understanding with respect to an agricultural project or food security project, which is hopefully will be based in Ramutswa. It's a milling project. And it's quite key for this conference, where there'll be a sign-off of a memorandum of understanding, where there'll be 4 parties signing off to ensure that there's an investment that will take off here in Botswana. Again, as been mentioned, it's the first of its kind. We want to have this virtual attendance in this conference. But in addition to that, when we do start seeing securing of investors here in Botswana, we believe that through this one project that we'll be signing off the MOU on, we believe that there'll be a lot more projects that investors will want to come into Botswana for, specifically listening to our ministers who will talk about how the government does not frustrate but facilitates investment in Botswana. So I think that's very, very key for me right now in terms of the conference. Again, we want to make sure that next year, when all these restrictions are lifted, travel restrictions are lifted, we want to have a physical conference here where we take investors out to the specific areas in Botswana to see what investment opportunities they have physically. Right now, as we sign the MOU, the individuals that want to invest in Botswana haven't physically been here, some of them, but they are very, very interested in the Botswana story and the commitments that we're giving them through this. In fact, we've actually got the commitments from the Ministry of Food Security, the Ministry of Mines, and Trade. So we've got these 3 ministries who are key to the sign-off of our MOU that will happen next week, Thursday, on the 29th. Thank you.
Thank you. This sounds very exciting. We'll attending this conference, whether virtually or physically. Will people be paying? How do people attend the conference?
The conference does not have a price on it. You just register and you'll have access to the conference. We have virtual attendance here in Botswana, but it'll only be for 50 people. Unfortunately, we can't do more than that because of COVID regulations, and we need to adhere to that, which is very key. So we will have the 50 people in attendance, but I think it'll be mostly speakers and a few VIP guests that we'll get on board. But I think for the people that are listening that have not been invited, please go online and register. There's no cost to your name.
Thank you very much. In parting short, anything that you can say?
Yeah, I think in parting, please join us for this very amazing conference, an eventful conference, specifically looking at the international exposure Botswana will get through this conference, and it's quite key for investors. And just one thing that I may have not mentioned through the discussions here is we as Lucara Botswana are partnering with the Canada Africa Chamber of Business on projects that relate to communities. I don't believe that it will be specific for communities when you look at the investment opportunities that are out there. So if there are any individuals that are interested, please network. It is not coming at a cost to anyone. You register, and You'll be able to interact with high-profile ministers. You'll be able to interact with industry leaders, and not just local industry leaders, but international industry leaders, which will give you a lot of foresight in terms of what your project, if you have a project, where your project can go. So I think it's quite key for Botswana in general to make sure that they participate. Please try and register online. I'm sure as we stream, we'll show the website to get on. I'll mention it again, and I think the first time I may have missed one W, I'm not too sure, but it's www.canadaafrica.ca. You can register through that, and there's another website that you can register through, but I'm sure as we're streaming, we'll probably put it on. But very key for individuals and communities in Botswana, please register and understand, if you're not ready to go into business, come in there, understand what is available for you out there. And we want to make Botswana the blueprint. So please participate and help us create traction in Botswana from an investor perspective. And let's create diversity, whether it be in the food security arena, whether it be in the mining sector, whether it be in just normal industry, or whatever it is. Digitalization is quite key right now. You can see we're streaming online right now because we're not able to physically be with people. So online digital platforms will be showcased. People will have networking capabilities. There'll be panels running through. So come through and just have a look. If you're not ready to be there and get investments coming through, just listen. So thank you.